Welcome to the deep dive.
Yeah.
Today, we're digging into the Xuda deployment system. I
Right.
want to give you a kind of backstage pass, yeah?
Yeah.
Understand how these modern apps actually get from, the idea stage onto your screen.
Exactly. It's often a black box for people.
Totally. So we've got some pretty detailed materials here describing Xuda's features.
Mm-hmm.
And our mission really is to cut through the tech speak and figure out what it actually does for deploying apps well.
Sounds good.
So maybe to start us off,
Mm-hmm.
what are the big challenges, the fundamental things a modern system like Xuda is actually trying to fix?
Yeah, that's a great place to begin. I mean, think about businesses today. They're all in the cloud, right?
Well,
And they're constantly juggling things. They need apps to be super fast, totally secure, and critically always on, available.
okay.
So what's interesting about Xuda from these descriptions is how it seems to focus on managing all that messy server stuff underneath.
The infrastructure.
Exactly, the infrastructure.
Yeah.
It's basically about making sure all that plumbing, the servers, the networks, all of it is set up for top performance, security, and just solid reliability for whatever application you're running.
Okay, so managing the infrastructure behind the curtain. When you say infrastructure, are we talking actual physical boxes in, like, data centers somewhere?
We are, yeah. Xuda basically uses this big global network of data centers placed really strategically.
Okay.
Think of them as these high-tech, super secure hubs scattered around the world.
Right.
And it's not just about having servers everywhere, it's about putting them in the right places to give users the best experience.
So faster response times.
Yeah, exactly. Low latency, that snappy feel we all want, and high availability.
High availability.
Yeah,
Meaning the service stays online even if one spot has, like, an outage.
precisely. That's a huge benefit of spreading things out like this.
Makes sense, especially if your users are all over the place. But what about, say, a company that has offices or teams in different regions? How does Xuda keep everything working together smoothly for them?
This is where the synchronization comes in. It seems these data centers are built to talk to each other seamlessly.
Okay.
So for that company with operations worldwide, this syncing is a major plus. It helps reliability, obviously, but also data security.
How so?
Well, if one data center goes down, another can pick up the slack almost instantly.
Right.
And you can mirror important data across multiple secure locations. It's an extra safety net. For any business that absolutely relies on being online 24/7, that kind of synchronization isn't just nice to have, it's fundamental.
Yeah.
It really cuts down the risk of one problem taking everything offline.
Gotcha. So my specific app, when I deploy it, it's not just tossed onto some random server sharing resources with who knows what. How does Xuda keep things separate, prevent interference?
That's super important, yeah. For stability, for security. The way Xuda handles it is that each application deployment gets its own dedicated virtual private server, a VPS.
VPS, okay.
Think of it like your own private walled-off space. You get guaranteed resources, CPU, memory, storage, all that.
Uh-huh.
This isolation means one app having a problem, maybe a performance spike or a security issue, won't drag down any other apps on the platform. It gives you a really dependable base to build on.
Okay, isolated environments on this global synchronized network. Got it. Now, let's switch to the user's perspective. If I want to use Xuda, what are my options? How many different ways can I actually, deploy something?
They seem to offer quite a bit of flexibility, actually, depending on what you need.
Like,
But there are private environments if you need, like maximum control or data privacy is paramount.
okay,
Then you've got the standard VPS options, which give you that full end-to-end management for an application. If you expect your app's traffic to go up and down a lot, they have something called instances. These let you scale resources up or down quickly. That's a big deal for handling, say, marketing campaigns or seasonal peaks.
elasticity, yeah.
Exactly. And for those really complex distributed apps designed to run everywhere, you can tap into those synchronized data centers we talked about, even with synchronized databases to keep data consistent globally.
Wow, okay.
And they also bundle in integrated load balancers.
Traffic cops, basically.
Pretty much. They spread the user request out across your servers, preventing any single one from getting overloaded and just keeping things running smoothly for everyone.
That's quite a menu of options.
Yeah.
Can you give me some concrete examples? What kinds of things can people actually deploy with Xuda?
Sure. It looks like they cover a pretty wide spectrum. You can do simple things like web links or embeddable widgets for existing websites.
Okay.
They fully support progressive web apps, PWAs, those apps that feel like native apps but run in the browser.
Yep, familiar with those.
Then, of course, actual native mobile apps for iOS and Android.
Standard mobile apps.
Right. And traditional desktop applications too, Windows, Linux, Mac OS.
Desktop too. Okay.
And then on the back end side, you can deploy APIs essential for connecting different services together.
Mm-hmm.
You can set up scheduled server tasks like cron jobs for automation, and they support Node.js environments for running your JavaScript backend code.
So web, mobile, desktop, back-end APIs, scheduled tasks. That covers a lot of ground.
It really does seem quite comprehensive.
Now, what about the process? If I'm sitting down to deploy one of these, say, a web app,
Yeah.
what's that experience like? Is it super technical and complicated?
Well, based on the descriptions, it seems like they've put a real effort into making it user-friendly.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, the interface is described as intuitive with clear sort of step-by-step options guiding you through.
Okay, walk me through it then. Let's stick with that web app example. What are the main steps I'd take in the Xuda interface?
All right, so typically you'd start by picking the type of thing you're deploying, in this case, web application.
Makes sense.
Then you configure the launch settings. This sounds pretty powerful. You can set up environments with multiple programs running together, manage global variables, that kind of thing, right from the start.
Okay.
Next up, you choose your data center locations. Where do you want this app hosted? You'd probably pick regions close to your main users for better speed.
Right. Minimize latency.
Exactly. After that, you configure the power, essentially the server specs, how much CPU, RAM, storage does your app need. You tailor it here.
Uh-huh.
And then finally, you add some identifying info for your project, name it, maybe add tags, and you can switch on advanced features right then and there, like automatic backups or user monitoring.
Automatic backups from the get-go is nice. It actually sounds reasonably straightforward.
That seems to be the goal, yeah, streamlined.
Okay, so my app's deployed, it's running. What tools does Xuda give me to, like, manage it day to day, keep it healthy?
They list quite a suite of management tools. Security seems like a big focus.
Like what?
Things like pre-installed SSL certificates, that's for the secure HTTPS connection.
Essential now, yeah.
Absolutely. Plus, robust firewall protection. They also mention unlimited bandwidth, which is great if your app uses a lot of data or gets popular quickly.
Unlimited bandwidth, really?
That's what it says. Resource installation is automated, which simplifies things. You get traffic analytics.
So I can see who's using my app and how.
Right. And the integrated load balancing we mentioned earlier helps handle that traffic. Beyond that, built-in threat mitigation, data replication for disaster recovery, even ways to synchronize workflows across different data centers if you need that level of coordination.
Wow, okay. It's definitely starting to sound like more than just a place to park your code. It feels like a whole ecosystem. You mentioned a marketplace earlier. What's that about?
Exactly. It seems Xuda is positioning itself as a full platform, covering the whole lifecycle. The Xuda Marketplace sounds like the central hub where you can find pre-built apps, tools, plugins, basically things to speed up development or add features to your deployments.
Like an app store, but for deployment tools.
Sort of, yeah. The idea is to help you build faster, enhance your app's functionality, and just get things out the door quicker.
Interesting.
And apparently, it's also a place where other developers using Xuda can share their own tools and apps, maybe even sell them.
Oh, okay. So it fosters a bit of a community too.
Seems like it.
And this marketplace stuff, does it connect back to those deployment types? Like, could I find tools there specifically for building PWAs or managing mobile apps?
That seems to be the idea, precisely. The marketplace would offer components or maybe templates that make it easier to create and deploy those different kinds of applications. So whether you're doing, a private app just for your team or a big public PWA or managing your native iOS and Android apps, the marketplace could potentially offer shortcuts or useful building blocks.
Okay, let's circle back to the core hosting part for a second.
Yeah.
You talked about the global data centers. In the hosting world, which is super crowded, how does Xuda seem to be positioning itself? What's their main pitch?
I think the core message is flexibility and scalability, all built on that foundation of global high-spec data centers.
Right.
That network gives them the low latency and security angle, but the key differentiator seems to be how easily you can scale your resources up or down. You're not stuck in a rigid plan.
Pay for what you need, basically.
Essentially, yeah. And they offer different tiers, it sounds like. Plans suited for small projects all the way up to big enterprise setups.
Yeah.
And they emphasize uptime reliability and support alongside that.
Makes sense. What about those really big companies, enterprises with maybe super strict security rules or complex setups? Does Xuda have anything specific for them?
Yes, they do mention something interesting there. For organizations that need absolute control, maybe for security reasons or because they need data processed locally,
Hmm.
Datsuda apparently offers a branded version of their platform that can run entirely on the company's own local network.
Oh, wow. So like an on-premise Xuda
Kind of,
thing.
yeah.
Wow.
It lets them use all the Xuda deployment and management features, but keep everything within their own walls under their complete control. That could be huge for certain industries.
I can definitely see that being appealing for finance or healthcare, maybe.
Exactly. Places with heavy compliance needs.
Okay, so pulling it all together, it seems like Zoot is really aiming to be this one-stop shop, simplifying what's usually a pretty complicated process of getting apps out there and managing them, offering the infrastructure, the tools, even that marketplace layer.
I think that sums it up really well. It's presented as this holistic system. You get the strong foundation of dedicated VPS, the resilience from having things spread out globally and synchronized, plus all these customizable options.
Right.
It makes it look like a potentially strong choice for, well, almost anyone, from a solo dev starting out to a massive company needing serious infrastructure.
It is pretty impressive, the breadth of features they seem to have packed into one system. It definitely shows how much more involved, how much more sophisticated deploying and running apps has become compared to, the old days.
Oh, absolutely. And it really prompts you to think, doesn't it, about how these integrated platforms are changing the game for software development itself.
How so?
Well, by abstracting away a lot of that underlying complexity, the traditional headaches of deployment, they basically free up developers to innovate faster.
Focus on the app, not the plumbing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And potentially reach more people more easily. It kind of makes you wonder, what does this mean for the next wave of software? What new kinds of services become possible when deployment gets this streamlined? Something for listeners to think about, perhaps, regarding their own projects or even just the apps they use every day.